The crystalline halls of the Galactic Senate echoed with the harmonic laughter of 12 different species as Ambassador Thexari of the Hegemony delivered what he considered his finest jest in 3 centuries of political maneuvering. The humans, he wheezed through his translator, his forearms gesticulating wildly, wished to negotiate the Outer Rim mining rights with words. The sound that emerged from his vocal slits resembled grinding metal. They speak of mutual benefit and long-term partnerships while the Korthani fleet masses at their borders. Senator Vex Thul, whose species had perfected the art of conquest through biological warfare, added his own chittering amusement. Perhaps they will defeat our warships with strongly worded letters and cultural exchange programs. The laughter grew louder. Even the normally stoic architects of Proxima Prime allowed their crystalline forms to resonate with what passed for mirth among their kind. Humanity's first attempt at galactic diplomacy had become the running joke of the Senate. Floor for 3 standard rotations. None of them noticed the small, unremarkable human sitting in the observer's gallery, quietly taking notes. Dr. Sarah Chen had been Earth's xenolinguistics specialist for 15 years before the first contact protocols were established. She stood barely 5 feet tall, wore simple gray clothing, and possessed the remarkable ability to become invisible in plain sight. While Ambassador Harrison thundered speeches about human potential and peaceful coexistence on the main floor, Sarah simply listened and learned. The Hegemony, she discovered, held their most sacred ceremonies on the 3rd moon of their homeworld every 47 days. The Korthani measured status by the number of enemy languages they could speak fluently. The architects communicated through harmonic frequencies that could shatter glass when tuned precisely. Sarah learned that Senator Vex Thul had lost his primary, mate to a mining accident, and sponsored every safety regulation in Hegemony space. She learned that the Korthani admiral threatening Earth's borders had once written poetry that was considered legendary among his people. She learned that the architect's decision-making process required absolute consensus, and their youngest member, Resonance of Distant Stars, harbored doubts about the aggressive expansion policies. Most importantly, Sarah learned their languages, not the simplified trade tongues used in official proceedings, but the deep languages, the ceremonial dialects, the intimate words shared between lovers and families. 3 months after the Senate's dismissive laughter, Sarah requested a private audience with Ambassador Thexari. The request was so unusual, a minor attaché seeking to meet with one of the most powerful beings in known space, that his curiosity overcame his contempt. She met him in his private chambers, a garden of impossible beauty where purple crystalline trees sang in harmonious frequencies. Sarah waited until he had performed his traditional greeting, then responded in flawless high hegemonic, using the specific tonal variations reserved for addressing a grieving parent. Thexari's 4 eyes widened. No alien had ever spoken to him in the dialect of his birth clan, the words used to comfort those who had lost children to the void. When Sarah continued, offering a traditional prayer for the peace of his son who had died in the same mining disaster that had claimed Senator Vex Thul's mate, the ambassador's legs gave out beneath him. "How do you know these words?" he whispered. Sarah smiled gently. "Because every language carries the heart of its people, and I wanted to understand your heart." The next day, Senator Vex Thul received a package containing a slim volume of poetry. Inside, written in the precise script of the Korthani military academies, were translations of ancient Earth verses about loss, honor, and the dreams of warriors. The final poem, composed by Sarah herself in the classical Korthani style, spoke of two worlds that had never met, but shared the same stars, the same hopes for their children. Resonance of distant stars encountered Sarah in the Senate's quantum garden, where the young architect came to find harmony when the weight of decisions grew too heavy. Sarah said nothing at first, simply hummed a frequency that complemented the architect's natural resonance. When resonance finally noticed her, Sarah spoke in perfect architectural harmonics about the mathematics of peace, the elegant equations that emerged when cooperation replaced conflict. One by one, Sarah visited them all, not as a diplomat bearing treaties and trade agreements, but as a human who had taken the time to truly see them. She spoke to the Vorthon delegation about the poetry hidden in their atmospheric dances. She shared recipes with the Methane Collective that turned their toxic environment into a feast for their unique metabolism. She learned the Quantum Weavers' impossible games and played them with a skill that honored their ancestors. 6 months after the Senate had laughed at human diplomacy, the Korthani fleet withdrew from Earth's borders. 2 weeks later, the Outer Rim Mining Consortium voted unanimously to include Earth as an equal partner rather than a junior member. The hegemony opened its first cultural exchange embassy on Luna Station. When asked by confused reporters how humanity had achieved such rapid diplomatic success, Ambassador Harrison could only shrug. "Sometimes," he said, "the most powerful weapon isn't a gun or a ship or a bomb. Sometimes it's just one person who cares enough to really listen." In the CES Observer's Gallery, Sarah Chen closed her notebook and smiled. Tomorrow she would begin learning Andromedan. She had heard their home system was beautiful this time of year, and Earth would need friends for the challenges ahead. The galaxy's quietest assassin had claimed her most precious victims: fear, mistrust, and the assumption that different meant enemy. In their place, she had planted something far more dangerous to those who would threaten humanity: understanding.